We're going to put it right here. We're just going to make a surround, black ABS surround. Actually matches the padded dash kind of nice, which padded dash looks like it's seen better days. But we'll put that in there. We're going to have a reverse switch, and the coast switches will be on either side. That's what's next. Well, as some of you may know, I've owned an engraving business for over 34 years. And we could easily have cut out this whole piece using the engraving machines. In other words, we could have cut out the OD, cut out the holes that we needed, so forth. But I'm not at that location. I'm at one of our warehouses, and so I'm going to do this the old-fashioned way. What I've done is I've scored a line down the center, and I also marked the center lengthwise as well as the center widthwise. And so using that, I'm going to take measurements of my JLD 404, and you got to take the measurements at the widest point, which is right here. And we're going to take a measurement and we'll transfer that to this piece of ABS, and then we're going to cut the hole. And so I'm not going to bother you with the measurements, but I'll show you how I'm going to cut the hole. So I'm going to use a saber saw to cut out the rectangular blank so that my JLD 404 will go in there. And first I'm going to cut a hole in each corner, and the hole's large enough that the blade on the saber saw will fit in. So I can go down one way and actually just do two holes, not all four corners, but opposite corners like this. So that allows me to go this way, this way, this way, and this way. Okay? So I'm going to drill a hole so that it's close, but I don't want to go outside my lines at all. So I got to position it carefully. All right, I'm right there, just a hair off the line, which is what I want, because I'm going to cut just slightly inside the line, and then I'm going to use a rasp to clean it up and get it right on exactly. You can always remove a little more, but you can't put it back. So I'm going to have to, you know, the old measure twice, cut once kind of thing. Okay. Then with the saw, beautiful. Okay, so I'm just going to go down this side and this side, and the cutting will be Well, there I have my hole, and it fits height-wise here, but I got to trim a little bit for the length of this, and that's where I'm going to use the rasp. I can just go in there and the ABS cuts pretty easily, so it goes pretty fast. But I'm going to go in here and I'll clean everything up, and I can see I need to take off on this side and just a hair on this, and it should drop right in. So there we have it. We cut our hole, put our JLD 404 in there. I had marked this, I'd put this in the dash, and from the front side of the dash I had marked where the opening was, because it fits very tight vertically in that opening. So I wanted to make sure that, you know, everything was centered correctly. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the two push button switches will be on the outsides of the JLD 404, and I'm going to put them centered between the JLD 404 and the outside edge, and one will go there and one will go here. So it's just a matter of measuring and drilling a hole. Once I've marked my hole, I'm going to use this punch to put a little hole there, and that'll help keep the drill bit from walking too much. And I'll drill a pilot hole, a real small one, so that the thing doesn't catch. On soft material like this, your bit may want to pull. And so I'll do that, and then I got to measure the OD of my button switch, and we'll drill the proper size hole after we do our pilot hole. Well, I've drilled a hole. I stepped it up a couple times, and now I'm going to use a stepper bit, and it's just under 3/4. So I'm going to mark on here 11/16, and that's as far as I'm going to go, and then double check. I don't want to go too large, like I said before. So I marked my bit, and now I'm going to enlarge my hole. And then I'm going to come at it from the other direction also, because it's cutting a taper, and so that way, so that I get the same diameter all the way through. It's just 3/16 inch thick material, and so as it's going through, I'm larger on this side than I'm on this side. So we'll just flip it over and attack it from this side a little bit also. Check. So we got a little ways to go. That's good. Aha. It looks like it. Just hit this back side gently here. And there we go. Voila. So now, swap this around and do the other side for the other switch. Like I mentioned before, we're going to have reverse and then coast for our two switches. And one switch, the coast one, whenever we turn on the ignition, it will light up a green halo just to remind us that the system is on. And when we hit the reverse button, it'll be a blue halo to remind you that you're in reverse. So, you get the idea how I'm doing it. I'm going to do the other one without you. Well, here it is assembled. We've got our reverse and our coast. And let's go put it in the dash and make sure that it fits. Well, there it is. Did you have any doubts? So anyway, you can make both of them silver, both of them black. You can do whatever you want when you do your own. I just happen to have these two in stock, and I like to have the reverse where, you know, it's not something that a kid or somebody may be, you know, drawn to it. So it's closer to the driver and it blends in. This is the coast, so if someone pushes that button randomly, it doesn't matter. All of a sudden you realize you're coasting and no regen, you'd know what it was. So, and we make it, you can do, again, it's a single pole double throw switch, so we're going to make it so that when you push it in, that's coast, and when it's out, that's regen, what I would call your normal mode. And on this, out, that's forward, press it in, and reverse. So that's what we're going to wire up next. We have, I mean, you can see we still got all this wire to deal with, but we're going to start up here and work our way back. So we have all of this, and like I said, up here it's pretty clean, which is unusual. Most VWs have a ton of wires all over the place, and so we're going to determine where we're going to pull off on the fuse block. The way VW fuse blocks are done, on the earlier ones, it's one end is the battery coming in, which I can see right here, the red with the white stripe. That's coming from the battery. That's directly from the battery. So that's what we're going to take off of. We don't take off of the other side of a fuse or anything. We're going to have our own fuse, and we're only going to, you know, affect the fact that we're just piggybacking on this wire from the battery. Then we're also going to determine an ignition switched source, and we're going to have an unswitched source which will run our JLD 404. It's got power all the time, and we're going to use a switched source, ignition switch source, that will be our KSI circuit. So we'll identify those two. Already did the one, and then I'll identify a ignition sourced one, also switched one. One thing I noticed, and here's the back side of the Curtis 840 display, and you can see the plug-in part is on the bottom. Well, I know that goes on the top. I really wasn't paying that much attention to it sitting in the dash. There it is. It's upside down. The little wrench goes on top, and this, and you can see a little battery symbol right there. That goes, you know, so it's 180 degrees. It's upside down. So we'll loosen that up, rotate that around, and then we're good. There's a blank right here. Could have used that for something, maybe. Anyway, this is good. The other thing we got to do is we got to find a hole for our menu switch. And we usually put it right underneath the dash, right underneath wherever we put the 840 display. And so I don't see an existing hole. Ah, here's the blank for the rear defogger. Maybe we'll stick it right there. Yeah, there's already a blank there. This has few holes for a VW. If you've seen some of our other videos, we've kind of highlighted the fact that they have a lot of holes. Now these down by the pedals and everything, those, you know, those are stock holes. Those are, you know, those aren't something somebody added. That one is. And because the stock wiring goes right behind it there, through the grommet. Notice no grommet. We'll have to fix that. You always want to use a grommet, and so that your wires don't chafe or get damaged going through sheet metal. Okay, so that's where we are currently. Just sort out this mess here and see what, you know, what's going to be used and what's not going to be used. We got the AVC2 here, and I'm not sure where we're going to locate the AVC2. If we're going to leave it up front here or move it in the back, because it looks like they've already run wires for the pilot and proximity, which, you know, that's in the back with the charge port. So and so we can leave it up here, and because we're going to have everything we need up here. They've already run the wires for the pilot and proximity, so we don't have to worry about that, and we'll just set it up. These have a real small internal relay. You can see it's a single pole double throw relay, but they're really small, kind of delicate, so we only use this relay to activate the coil on another relay, and we have the other relay's contacts do the switching. So we'll find a place to mount this and our safety interlock relay, which is also a single pole double throw relay. We're going to use the normally closed contacts on that, and we'll show you that. So yeah, not going to need the pre-scaler or this Expert Pro. The Expert Pro has an alarm output that you can use for one item. They're much more of a pain to program. They don't show up as well, you know, the display wise, especially in the sunlight. I'm just not a big fan of them. The only thing I like about them is that is they're round. The JLD 404 being rectangular, I don't like that either, but I like the operational and functionality aspects of it. So that's why we use it. And they're inexpensive. It's a lot less expensive than using the Expert Pro and a pre-scaler. And so, and they've, you know, we have had some fail over the years, but considering how many of them we use, I mean, we use them for all sorts of things. For instance, for my bottom balancing setup here, JLD 404, we just use them in all sorts of things, and you know, bang for the buck, I'm a fan. And I love the two internal programmable single pole double throw relays. Works real well, and a lot of times we'll put them somewhere where it's out of sight. For instance, on my Bug, and there's nothing but analog gauges in the dash. But down underneath we have the JLD 404. So, you know, when you're looking at the car, you don't see it. You can see the light on right now, but it doesn't stand out. It doesn't really detract. And we've put them in glove boxes, so forth. You can put them lots of different places. So this car's had a couple different renditions. It was originally converted in 2008, and it was a DC conversion with the net gain Impulse 9. But it currently has the AC51, has the exact same package that our Carmen Ghia had. I mean, exact same. We removed it from the Carmen Ghia and put it in here.